Imagine meeting someone on a perfectly ordinary Tuesday afternoon. No grand setting, no dramatic music, just a railway station, a cup of tea going cold, and a piece of grit in your eye. And somehow, from that one tiny moment, your entire life quietly splits in two. The person you were before, and the person you become after. What you are about to watch is a love story, but not the kind with a happy ending. This is the kind that never gets spoken aloud. The kind that lives entirely inside one woman's chest, carried home on a train every Thursday, folded away like a letter she never sends. And I promise you, by the time this story ends, you will not know whether to cry for her or shake her by the shoulders. November, 1945. The war has been over for a few months. England is tired, everything is rationed, everything is gray, and everyone is trying very hard to go back to normal. For Dorothy Reeves, normal means Thursdays. Every Thursday, Dorothy takes the 40-minute train into Millhaven. She shops at the covered market. She watches a matinee film at the Regal Cinema. She has a pot of tea at the station refreshment room while waiting for her train home. Then she returns to her husband, her 2 children, her comfortable house, and her perfectly decent life. She has done this for 2 years, without incident. Her husband is Gerald Reeves. He is a kind, patient, quietly clever man who does crossword puzzles in the evenings and has never once raised his voice. Dorothy is fond of him. She is comfortable with him. She has simply stopped noticing him. Then one Thursday, in November, Dorothy gets a speck of grit blown into her eye by a passing express train on platform 2. And a stranger stops to help. His name is Dr. Edward Crane. He volunteers at Millhaven General on Thursdays. He uses a clean handkerchief and removes the grit from her eye in about 10 seconds. He is cheerful and competent, and entirely unaware that he has just changed everything. He buys her a cup of tea in the station refreshment room because she looks shaken. They talk for 20 minutes about nothing important. The film playing at the Regal, the cold weather, whether the tea here is better or worse than before the war. Then their trains come. They say goodbye and go their separate ways. The following Thursday, she runs into him at the chemist on Bell Street. He is collecting medicines for the hospital. She is buying aspirin. They walk to the station together. They have tea again. The third Thursday, they see a film together. It is a comedy. Dorothy laughs more than she has in months. The fourth Thursday, lunch at a cafe on the market square. Then tea. Then the platform, goodbye. The fifth Thursday, he is not there, and the refreshment room feels very large and completely empty. By December, neither of them says what is happening. They don't need to. Every Thursday, the train into Millhaven feels different from every other day of the week. Dorothy starts choosing her clothes on Wednesday evenings. She starts arriving at the station a few minutes early. Edward is also married. His wife Margaret lives in the countryside, and they have a young daughter. He is not a dishonest man. He is a good man, in a situation he did not plan for and cannot quite bring himself to step back from. January. A cold, white Saturday. Dorothy and Gerald take the children to a puppet show in the town hall. Halfway through the second act, Dorothy sees Edward sitting 3 rows in front of her, with his wife and daughter. He does not see her. She watches the back of his head for 40 minutes and feels something she has no business feeling. That same month, Edward saves a child's life at the hospital during a complicated surgery. He is shaken when he tells Dorothy about it the following Thursday. It is the first time she has seen him genuinely frightened. She finds it harder to look at him after that. One Thursday in February, it rains so hard the streets flood. They miss their trains and are stranded in Millhaven for 2 hours. They walk through the flooded market under one umbrella, talking about everything. His ambition to publish research on lung disease. Her old dream of studying art before the war. The books they both love. The people they have quietly become. It is the best afternoon either of them has had in years, and they both know it. By March, Dorothy knows, with the certainty of something she cannot unfeel, that she is in love with Edward Crane, and she suspects, with a quiet terror, that he is in love with her. Spring arrives. Millhaven is almost pleasant. One Thursday, Dorothy's old school friend, Vera Higgins, spots them having lunch at the cafe and sits down uninvited for 45 minutes. Dorothy laughs through the whole thing and feels sick for the rest of the day. That afternoon on the platform, Edward asks Dorothy if she would like to see the lake gardens while they are still in bloom. She says yes, before she finishes hearing the sentence. The lake gardens in spring. Cherry blossom along the bank. A wide gravel path and a still lake with clouds reflected in it. They walk along the bank and talk, and say very little of what they are actually thinking. By the lake, sitting on a bench, Edward finally says the thing neither of them has said. That he thinks about her every day. That he has never felt this way in his life. That he is entirely at a loss for what to do about it. He does not touch her. He just says it. Dorothy does not sleep that night. Not because she is conflicted about her feelings. She stopped pretending about those weeks ago. She cannot sleep because she is a practical woman, and the problem is entirely practical. There is no version of this that does not hurt someone. And she cannot decide which version hurts the fewest people. She and Edward meet once more at the lake gardens. Dorothy says clearly what she has decided. She loves him, but she will not destroy her marriage or his family. She is not young enough to believe that happiness comes without a price, and she is not selfish enough to make other people pay it. Edward agrees. He says she is braver than he is. He does not mean it as a compliment. They agree they will have one last Thursday. They will do everything they usually do, and then it will be over. The last Thursday comes. The film is a musical, entirely wrong for the occasion, and somehow perfect because of it. They sit in the dark and do not look at each other. Lunch at the cafe, a walk past the lake. Everything exactly as it always has been. Except that both of them are memorizing every second of it. Back at the station refreshment room. Tea. The clock on the wall. Myrtle refills their cups without being asked. Dorothy has never loved a room more in her life. Then the door of the refreshment room opens, and in walks Vera Higgins. Again, completely delighted to see them. She pulls up a chair and begins talking about a cousin's wedding in Shropshire. Edward's train is announced. He has to go. He says goodbye to Vera pleasantly. He turns to Dorothy, and there is nothing to be said. He puts his hand on Dorothy's shoulder for one brief second. Then he walks out. Dorothy makes her excuses to Vera. She walks onto the platform. She tells herself she is just getting some air. She watches the platform. The express thunders through on the opposite track without stopping. A wall of noise and speed and displaced air, and for one single second, Dorothy steps toward it. Then she steps back. She breathes. She straightens her coat. She picks up her handbag from the bench where she left it. She goes back inside and finishes her tea with Vera and asks about the cousin in Shropshire. She catches the 5:40 home. The carriage is cold. She watches the fields go dark outside the window. Gerald is in the sitting room when she gets back. The fire is banked low. He asks if the film was any good. She says yes. She hangs up her coat. She sits across from him. He goes back to his crossword puzzle. And sitting there across from her husband, who has never once suspected a single thing, Dorothy begins, silently and privately, to tell him everything. Not in words, just in her mind. The whole of it, as honestly as she can bear. She thinks about the chemist on Bell Street, the cafe on the market square, the umbrella in the rain, the lake in spring, the bench, his voice, saying things she had not heard in years, the way she had started to feel like herself again, and then chosen to stop. Gerald looks up from his crossword. He asks her what the answer might be to 7 across, a feeling of longing for something you cannot name. She stares at him. She says she doesn't know. He goes back to the puzzle. She looks at him for a long time. This kind, patient, entirely decent man. She chose him. She came home to him. She will not speak of any of this, not ever. And she will mean it. He never knew. She never told him. Edward Crane left Millhaven General 3 months later for a hospital in Scotland. He sent one brief letter saying he had arrived safely and the weather was terrible. Dorothy read it twice and burned it in the kitchen sink. And on Thursdays, she still takes the train into Millhaven. She still shops at the covered market. She still watches a film at the Regal. She still has a pot of tea at the station refreshment room before the 5:40 home. Everything is exactly the same, and nothing is at all. That is the whole of it. A few months, a railway station, cups of tea and walks in the rain. No great scenes, no great speeches, just 2 people who found each other at the wrong time and loved each other well enough to let go. And a woman who went home and kept going home every single day afterwards. You know what breaks me about this story? It is not the goodbye on the platform. It is the morning after. When she got up and made breakfast and packed the school lunches and went about her day. Because that is the thing about real love. The quiet kind. The kind people never find out about. It does not end. It just goes somewhere you cannot reach, and you carry it, and you keep going anyway. If this story found you today of all days, leave me a comment. Tell me which moment you felt, and if you want more breakdowns of the most quietly devastating stories ever put to film, hit that subscribe button, because I will never stop finding them.